Hey guys, and welcome back. I'm going to be doing a cute smoky liner, so let's just get straight into it. Of course, I'm going to be laying my brows down with my Elmer's glue and my Morphe eyebrow brush. I like to press all my hairs all the way down, and then once I get them in an area or like lifted enough to where I like it and there doesn't look like there's any like empty areas, kind of like evenly distributing the hairs. Then I'll use my same spoolie to just drag it across the top and create a shape, because while I do like feathery brows, it's not my go-to or my preference at all. So I like to give it its shape back a little bit at least, so I don't have to fill them in or do any concealer or anything like that, because it's just very natural and simple. And you always want to clean up around your brow before you do your foundation or primer, like so, because it will get cakey and start crumbling underneath. The concealer I'm using to prime my lids is L'Oreal Infallible Concealer in the shade 325. And I'm just honestly improvising. I lost my primer, and then I'm going to apply some tape for this look today because I want a super sharp edge, and concealer just doesn't give me the sharpness that I want all the time. So the palette I'm using today is from Cruise Boulevard, and this is called Natural High Palette. If you pause it to look at all the names, which I forgot to record footage of, it's all oldies, so it's a super cute palette. So because my eyeshadow look is mostly on the bottom part of my eye, I'm going to go ahead and set the top of my lid with a skin tone kind of shade from this palette. This is just so my underbrow isn't super bright, because I'm not a fan of, cutting my brows with concealer when I don't need to or anything extra like that. So just trying to keep it simple. And then I go straight in and just, you can be messy because you have the tape down. Go ahead and apply your first shade of brown. I think in this video, I'm going from a dark brown to a medium brown to another dark brown. So just to get that even blend. This is that second brown I was referring to. This is basically just to get it to like a smooth blend all the way up to your eye, because you're not going high up. And then you can go back in with that original shade that's on the top of your lid, that's underneath your brows, and just blend those out like so, just to literally make it look like it's blending into like nothing, because you don't want any harsh lines. And now I'm gonna go in with my brown Epic ink liner just to give it that extra so you can, like me, go in with this eyeliner a little bit wet to kind of smoke it out, but it does dry super quick, so it's not that easy to go about it. What I would recommend, what I do in this video, is applying it all the way where you want the darkest spot of the liner, and then letting it dry kind of, and then setting it with your brown eyeshadow all the way instead of smoking it out. And then after you're done setting it, if you apply the eyeshadow again but slightly on top of the liner, it kind of gives it like a smoky effect, because it doesn't pick up as much pigment as the part with the eyeliner on it, since it's a little bit darker, so it looks more smoky. That sounds super complicated, and I hope that made sense to you guys, but I hope you guys can watch it and kind of see what I mean, because it does make it a lot simpler when you're trying to do a smoky look to do steps, little hacks like this. Now I'm going to go in with my Maybelline Super Stay Foundation, full coverage foundation, I should mention, and it is definitely full coverage. This shade is a little bit lighter than what I prefer for my foundation, but by the time I'm done contouring and putting my blush and my bronzer, whatever I do, it really doesn't make too much of a difference. But if I wanted to go get another shade, I definitely could do that. But yeah, and I'm gonna go on a rant about my skin again, but this honestly is not easy to deal with at all, because acne literally sucks so much. So if you struggle with acne, I feel you, I am you. So just go with the flow. Let it happen and pass. It is what it is. We all have skin and texture, and it's all unique. So hating your skin is not going to change your skin. So you got to just live in it. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to go in with my Bare Minerals Stick Foundation in the shade Sienna, of course. And I'm going to go ahead and do the liquid part of my contour. And I say liquid part because I do powder contour as well later on in my routine. If you know, you know. But if not, now you know. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and pat in the same spots kind of just to evenly distribute it in my cheekbone vicinity, and then I'll start blending up to kind of give it that bronzed effect. But I don't blend up too much because I want to keep the depth on my cheekbones and not on the apples of my cheeks. So this is the dynamic duo. Lately they have been killing it. This is the e.l.f. 16-hour Caramel Concealer and the Beauty Bakery Flower, aka setting powder. I really slept on Beauty Bakery's powder for a minute. Let me quickly say I've been wanting to try it for the longest, but I'm definitely gonna be repurchasing because this powder is just, to me, in my opinion, one of the better blurring kind of powders without being like super super like cakey, or some powders when you set your face you just feel tight and just uncomfortable, like you need to spray your face. I don't feel like that with this one. So I really, really like powders that do that, that kind of still let your skin feel like they can breathe without, being uncomfortable. So anyways, that and the 16-hour Camo Concealer I always use on my channel, but just always on my social media. So that's always been a top 3 for me. I gotta go explore some concealer in the concealer world, but until then, this and L'Oreal so far are my go-tos. But okay, so this step in my process, I like to bake underneath before I do my powder contour, which is in my Roll Up and Glow Up palette from Pink Leaf Cosmetics, and you can use my code MauilenaXO if you want to purchase any products from them, including this palette. But side note, sorry, I got a little distracted. Yeah, so for my contour on my nose, I like to add the highlight to the tip and the bridge like you saw, and then I just go straight in with the contour, and then one more time with the light powder before I put loose powder. So those are two different things, a light pressed powder and a loose powder. I like to bake at the end, and usually if I'm lucky enough to remember my routine properly, I would do my nose in the beginning before I even do my powder contour or blush or anything else, directly after I'm put powder on my eyes and underneath my contour area. But that's because you want it to like bake the longest. So the longer it bakes, the better it looks, the better it stays. And yeah, that's my process so far. It's been working for me. So this is from the Roll Up and Glow Up palette. I'm just going to use one of the lighter contour shades in that palette to just go ahead and create the depth of that contour that I already had with the liquid contour. Take a shot every time I say contour. And then once I'm done doing that and adding the depth in the areas that I want my depth, and now once you're done with your contour, you can go ahead with your blush. Today I'm going in with the same Roll Up and Glow Up palette for my blush, and I'm using the shade Pink OG. One of my go-to blushes now for sure. I've mentioned it before. This is definitely a must-have face palette for me, at least. And the highlights in there are also really good too, because they have like a buildable, highlight and then more of a shimmery highlight. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. But now that I'm done ranting about Pink Leaf's palette, I like to add blush to my chin and my forehead area just to bring color back to my face. Like I mentioned earlier, my foundation is a little bit lighter than I would prefer, so the blush does help to bring color back to your face if you kind of stripped it away from a super pale foundation or a super pale concealer, etc. So that's a good note to have, especially when you don't want to contour in those areas or make them super orange from bronzer or anything like that. It's good to note for future reference. Now after I've sprayed my face with my Morphe setting spray, I'm going in with Pretty Vulgar's highlight in the shade Shimmering Swan. It's very pretty and very natural if you let it be. I kind of look like a tin man a little bit, but that's okay because it does get blended out in the after clips or whatever. So let's just enjoy that bright shiny forehead for a little bit while you can, okay? But anyways, I like to add it to my forehead, my chin, and my tip and bridge of my nose. More like I obviously focus on like the center middle of my face. I really don't highlight my cheeks or anything like sides of my forehead, none of that. So yeah. And now for lashes, of course, I'm going in with my Omega lashes. This time I put the glue on the band since I don't want to get glue all over my liner. And this is a side by side of with and without, period. Period. That's all you gotta say. This is definitely one of my top favorites. Wispy brow. I keep re-recording this because I keep calling my eyelashes brows. And I'm leaving this one in this time because I'm tired of it. Next, we're going into my lips. NYX lip liner, Nude Truffle, and Cairo lip cream. And to what I was saying earlier about my Omega Lash, those are some bomb wispy eyelashes. One of my favorites. My sister loves them, and so I got her hooked. You guys gotta go check them out. If you do check out Omega Lashes, make sure you use my code MauilenaMUA. Thank you. And here's the final product. And yeah, so if you got this far, I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys come back next week and the week after and the week after until I'm famous. But anyways, if you like my content, subscribe. And for those of you who have, 300 of you to be exact at this moment, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And we're only going up from here. So I hope to see you guys next week. Bye.